So over 10 years ago, Pokemon X and Y came out and introduced the Ice Rock typing for the first time on one of the new fossil Pokemon, being Aurorus or Amora, both of them. So Aurorus was easily outshined by its counterpart fossil Tyrantrum, which was a rock dragon type and was significantly better. Even though Aurorus has some really nice stats, its typing is horrible, horrendous, god awful, makes it almost completely unusable as a defensive Pokemon as it's meant to be. However, using the random Pokemon generator, this is what I got, and I have to solo run Pokemon X and solo run speedrun Pokemon X and Y using Aurorus. Now on the start, this was also meant to be a versus, or I say meant to, it was a versus, with my friend who used Conkeldurr, a solo run randomized Pokemon as well. So yeah, looking at the start, obviously I was at a huge disadvantage there, but regardless, this video is meant to focus on Aurorus, but the footage you're seeing will also have Conkeldurr's point of view. But anyways, I will be explaining just the Aurorus side. So Aurorus has some really nice stats, as I said earlier, has 123 base HP, which is a crazy, it's a crazy nice number for bulk. It's got its main, I guess, attacking stat is its special attack with 99 base special attack, which is, it's not bad. It actually does a lot of damage, and then its physical attack is actually kind of viable too at 77. Its defense is at 72, which is okay, and then it's got base 92 special defense, which is actually really nice. Although I guess what really sucks for a speed run is it has only 58 base speed, which means it does get outspeed by some of the faster Pokemon, but you know, with our bulk it somewhat makes up for it. Now the abilities for Aurorus is Refrigerate and Snow Warning. However, we don't really utilize Refrigerate too much, other than one move, which we'll explain later, but even then it didn't really matter too much. And while Snow Warning would have been nice for extra chip damage on the opponent, since this was a speedrun, I was trying to make full use of whatever can make me go slightly faster. So obviously didn't want an ability to set up the weather each time you went into battle. But anyways, this thing's moveset is actually really nice. While I really much hated the idea of using it, its starting moveset has Freeze Dry. It's the best ice type move in the game. So we got to start it off with it at level 5. So we just brought that to the end of the game, so that was a huge I guess plus side to Aurorus, despite all of its downsides. I guess if I didn't mention about its typing, ice and rock type, it is 4 times weak to fighting and steel, and sadly we cannot avoid those typings in this game because there are a lot of fighting types, especially like the third gym where it's all fighting types, and then there's also steel type Elite Four, so we got to deal with that. Now from the TM side, Aurorus actually does learn a lot of TMs. I think most of them are not easily accessible though, but the TMs that it can easily get is Calm Mind, Thunderbolt, Toxic, I guess Blizzard as well, and kind of Psychic, which I don't really remember where it is, but if I remember correctly, it's not too hard to get. And they also get stuff like Rock Tomb, Stone Edge, Rock Slide, but obviously we don't really utilize that too much. It does also get Flash Cannon and Dark Pulse, but those are also not easily accessible. It also does start off with Thunder Wave, so my idea was if there was any battles that I really couldn't beat, like with the other gimmicks I wanted to use, then I could try to just go for Pair Hacks, because that'd be my only option left if I really wanted to, other than just over leveling. But anyways, let's get into the run itself, why don't we? So off the start, obviously we start off with both Freeze Dry and Thunder Wave, which is amazing. This was my first time speedrunning X and Y, or solo run speedrunning with X and Y, so there's a lot of stuff I didn't really understand, or I didn't completely remember the game navigation to the best of my abilities. But either way, we were able to beat Viola very easily, and we were able to beat her at 8 minutes into the game, so that's pretty nice. And then obviously the next, I guess there was also something I wanted to talk about. So when I got to the Team Flare in the Glittering Cave, I wanted to make use of a speedrunning strat I saw while watching AGDQ, the speedrun by Wartab, and it actually lined up so well for us. Basically, once you're done dealing with Team Flare, obviously you can escape rope out of the cave and walk all the way back using the the Rhydon, but it is incredibly slow, especially if you don't have repels either. But there is a faster way, and that's if you heal at the Pokemon Center, you get a checkpoint, and then if you defeat Team Flare and then like die to a wild Pokemon, you get sent all the way back to the Pokemon Center, and it is actually faster. The only downside is obviously you lose some money and you lose some friendship, but on the bright side, you know, you get there really fast. So yeah, I did utilize that, and felt very happy because it lined up so well because I got poison and sent to low health right before it. So next up was dealing with Grant, and Grant wasn't actually too bad of an issue. I think I actually got paralyzed, which was the main problem for me. But yeah, either way, like Aurorus obviously destroys Amora. I'm significantly bigger than that. And then Tyrant, I think I'm pretty sure they even go for Rock Tomb on me, so I was able to just freeze dry it, and obviously it's not living a freeze dry from me. So with that, we were able to destroy Grant and get the Rock Tomb TM, so I got to replace Rock Throw with that. A nice little tiny upgrade. And we were able to beat him at around 34 minutes, which is not too bad, but I feel like maybe next time I can possibly do better, though I don't think I was really playing through the game that slow. So next up is we got through the Reflection Cave, which had a lot of fighting type trainers, but we still were able to manage through it. And our next pit stop was, or next huge obstacle is at Geosense Town, and it's Corona, who has 2 Lucarios. Everyone knows this fight, right? Now this fight, it's not fun because she only has 1 move, and that's why in the original games she isn't much of a problem. However, in this game, however, that 1 move that she does have is Power Up Punch, and I am 4 times weak to Power Up Punch, so I was in a very sticky situation there. But I actually got really lucky during this fight, utilizing Freeze Dry. So Freeze Dry has like a 10 or 20% chance to freeze, and her Lucario first starts off with Metal Sound into Sword Stance. And then I was able to get the freeze on that, and allowing me to actually take it out, which made me really happy because that. Oh yeah, I guess I also forgot to mention that I used an O-Power special attack and O-Power speed. So essentially, I was able to outspeed the Lucario on the 3rd hit, so allowing me to kill that. And in the 2nd Lucario, it landed 1 Power Up Punch, taking me to 60% health, and then I froze it, giving me the turns to actually defeat it. So I felt very happy about that because I expected to be stuck there for a really long time, and I almost thought that I was going to be forced to EV train. And the next up was dealing with Corona's gym as a whole. That was a huge problem. I had to do so many resets because so many of Pokemon would just 1-shot me or 2-shot me while I couldn't really kill them. Some of the trainers actually had to utilize O-Powers, like for the one with a sock, and was it the draw. So there were a couple of gym trainers that really made me struggle a lot of resets. And I guess I forgot to mention at the start, but the X and Y Solar Run speedrun does have a slightly different rule set from the Aurorus ones. I am allowing saves coming in this due to the fact that I've decided that we're only doing megas and special forms in Aurorus, which means that it doesn't affect if you try and reset. That's why I'm allowing in X and Y. But anyways, after dealing with the gym trainers, it was time to deal with Corona herself. And Corona, obviously, she has 3 fighting types with Power Up Punch. So for this, I utilize an O-Power speed to make sure I outsped, and then an O-Power special attack. And then I use an X special attack to make sure that I outsped. And by utilizing that, Well, I first started off with an X special, O power special attack because I knew I would outspeed. And then, yeah, no, I went to speed as well. But then the Halucha still outsped me, got a flying press, but I still ended up living on like 12 HP, allowing me to beat Corina, which is very nice because I also thought that was going to be a huge obstacle for me. I was able to beat her at almost exactly 1 hour. And then next up, I guess I did find out right before the 4th gym, Ramos, that I did not have enough friendship to get the lucky egg, so we had to fight Ramos without getting that extra exp. So from this point in the game, it does get slightly easier because we do get the chance to over level with the lucky egg, but you know, we still had to first beat Ramos, and Ramos being the grass type gym, I don't think I really need to talk about how that went. The power plant, it was annoying, but it was also too bad. And then for Clement, also was pretty easy. Yeah, he did have a magneton, but it wasn't able to kill us. Also mostly because the Emolga beforehand used Volt Switch, switching out into Magneton, allowing us to get a 2-hit KO with Freeze Dry, so we didn't get hit by a Steel type move. And so after that, we got the Thunderbolt TM, which I actually did teach. Even though Freeze Dry hits everything super effectively that Thunderbolt can, there is the chance that they have, I guess, water types, steel types, that it would be better for me to hit them with Thunderbolt. So I remember just taught that, and having a Bolt Beam is a really nice option. So anyways, with Clement down, it was time for Valerie. Valerie, the fairy type gym, she leads off with the Mawile, which obviously is very scary, but with an O-Power special attack, we were able to one-shot it with Thunderbolt. And at this point in the game, we were also 11 levels higher, so also really didn't have to worry about that. Her Mr. Mime did set up Light Screen, but, you know, not too much of an issue. And after Valerie, it's time for, the Frost Cavern. Frost Cavern, I actually lost so many times. Just because there's a lot of fighting type trainers in this cavern, which, you know, meant that I had to get my ass beat by a bunch of fighting type moves, and yeah, not very fun. But anyways, with the Frost Cavern down, we had to deal with Olympia, and Olympia, I died to a random trainer with a Metacham, if I remember correctly, because fighting type, not very fun for me. But yeah, Olympia herself actually was really easy. Nothing on her team can actually hit me when I have such a high special defense. But with Olympia down, it was time for Lysandre. And Lysandre, yeah, he's a pain. Because we had to fight him 3 times, and each time he leads off with a Mienfoo at the first, and then it becomes a Mienshao. And those are 2 fighting types that he leads off with, so I can't set up on any of them beforehand. And I had to find out some way to deal with it. Obviously, I can use O-Powers, which I did use on the first 2 fights. With an O-Power speed and O-Power special attack, yeah, that's no problem. However, the final fight, as you know, is once you catch the legendary. And if you're playing a solo run and you catch a legendary, it's automatically getting put on your team if you don't have 6 Pokemon on your team. And then if it's put on your team, it's automatically set to the first Pokemon sent out. And if it's sent out, that means you need to switch out to your solo Pokemon. But I'm an Aurorus. I do not want to switch into a Mienshao. So I did utilize a strategy I also learned from the speedrun, the AGDQ one, and that's have 6 Pokemon in your party. So I just caught random Pokemon, put it in my party. Obviously, I'm not using it, so it doesn't go against the rules. But by doing that, it means that I can bench the Yveltal into the box, and I'm not forced to use it. I guess also forgot to mention before the Lysandre fights, I had trouble navigating to the Team Flare hideouts. I completely forgot how to do it. I got stuck on just one section, and I was just kind of stuck there for a little bit. And, you know, that was just a minor setback. Did push me back a couple minutes, maybe like 10-20 minutes. But yeah, other than that, we dealt with Lysandre quite smoothly using those strategies by utilizing O-Powers and just blasting through his Mienshao to the best of our abilities. And then next up, I guess, is dealing with the Ice type gym, Wolfric. And Wolfric obviously doesn't really do anything to us because we're also an Ice type. The only thing is we don't really kill him that fast, but it's not much of an issue. I can kind of just blast him with Thunderbolt and Ancient Power. So with that, with that done, it was time for the Elite Four. Now, the Elite Four, I decided to start off with the Steel type one because obviously that's our biggest obstacle in the Elite Four. But luckily at this point, we're huge. We're very, very rich. We can buy as many potions as we want, and we still have like over 100,000 left over. But so using all that money, I decided to buy a bunch of X items. And since he leads off with the Clef Key, that's not doing much damage to us, even if it's 4 times super effective. So I used that chance to set up as much X items as possible because he has both physical and special steel types. I was able to set up to full, and then I ended up taking out Clef Key. Aegislash comes in, and it takes me down to the red, because it has Sacred Sword, and Sacred Sword ignores all defense boosts. So I almost suffered a defeat there. If I did lose there, I think I would have utilized an X speed and maybe a protect, but we were able to beat it no problem. By the way, at this point in the game, we still have Thunder Wave, and I really never used it a single time. I think I've tried to use it a few times in some fights that just kind of one-shot me, but it didn't really help whatsoever, so I still kept it just in case. And with the Steel type Elite Four down, it was time for I decided to take on the Water one, and this one took me my second try to actually beat it because his first Pokemon, Clawitzer, does have Aura Sphere, and that one shot me the first time. So I was completely unaware. That meant after using O-Power Speed, I just had to take out the Clawitzer. Luckily, I don't think I even used any other O-Powers in this. I only just used the O-Power Speed because Freeze Dry is enough to just one-shot everything he has, and especially since we were over leveled. And then next up is the Dragon one. And that one, surprise, surprise, wasn't an issue. We didn't have to really worry at the Dragon types yet. They just all went down to Freeze Dry. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, I did take on the Fire one right before her, but the Fire one also wasn't really much of an issue. So finally, we had to deal with Diantha. And Diantha, I used an O-Power Speed and an O-Power Special Attack here. Or actually, no, I didn't even use an O-Power Special Attack because I didn't need to. So I just started off with the O-Power Speed, took out the Hawlucha before it could do anything, and then the Gudra took 2 hits after I got hit by a Focus Blast, but didn't kill me. Tyrantrum comes out, and I take that down in 1 hit, and then Gourgeist comes out, and that also dies to 1 hit because there's no way that lives 1 Freeze Dry for me. Aurorus comes out, so it's Aurorus versus Aurorus, but I am like 19 levels higher, so I didn't have to worry about anything. It's not doing much damage, and it sets up screens anyways, so I just used that chance to just Ancient Power it to death without much worry, because I actually got an Omni boost from that. So obviously, to just I didn't need any other O powers. All I needed was a speed to make sure I outsped everything. I think a +1 speed was enough to outspeed everything. And then finally, her last Pokemon, Mega Gardevoir, comes out, and I know this thing might have Focus Blast, so I had to be careful, but I did outspeed, use Freeze Dry, and I got the freeze once again, meaning she couldn't attack me, and I was able to kill her on the second turn, giving me a win at 3 hours 6 minutes and 38 seconds. Whoops. So that means that Pokemon X and Y does go kind of slower than Aurorus, and I guess it's not really much of a surprise, but still 3 hours is not too bad. It doesn't take up too much time, and this is also not a really bad time for a first time solo run speed run using also a Pokemon that's pretty bad. Although I would say that I got pretty lucky in this run. Regardless, I was using a Pokemon that lost a lot of fights just because of its 4 times weaknesses, but still, with that, we were able to win, and we did beat my friend who was using Conkeldurr by like 40-50 minutes. But that's also just a result of me being good at the game. But still, I think what was huge about this was just it was utilizing O-Powers, and also the fact that Aurorus has a Freeze Dry right off the start at level 5, and Freeze Dry is such a good move. But anyways, that was it for this run. Next up, I did randomize the Pokemon. Next up will be Helioptile, which will be our first not fully evolved Pokemon. So I can only expect that to go horribly wrong and slow and bad. But hopefully I can pull through and get some really nice strategies, tactics to win the game at a reasonably fast pace. But anyways, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.